Hello 6th graders, hope you all are having great time back home. I welcome you all to the online session organized by your school KDPS. Today in this session, we are going to explore the mysteries of the sky through the chapter of geography, that is the earth and the solar system. Before we dive into our chapter, let's do a small experiment. For this experiment, you will need a small torch, a piece of paper, a pencil, a rubber band and a needle or anything pointed. First, place the torch at the center of the paper with its glass front touching the paper. Now draw a circle around the torch. Torch के चारों तरफ circle बनाओ. Remove the torch and create small perforations on the paper within the circle using the needle. Needle या किसी भी sharp object को use करके circle के अंदर छोटे छोटे छेद करने हैं, perforation करना है. Now place the perforated part of the paper on the glass front and wrap a paper around the torch with a rubber band. Now you have to stand in a dark room at a distance facing a plain wall. एक plain wall से थोड़ा सा दूर खड़ा होना है. Now flash the torch light on the wall. What do you see? Doesn't that look like the star-studded night sky? Have you ever looked at the night sky and wondered why the sun is visible only during the daytime? Why the moon increases and decreases in size? Why some bodies that we see in the night sky twinkle while others don't? Let's explore and find out the answers to some of these questions. To begin with, let's understand the universe, which stands for everything that exists in space. Nobody knows exactly how the universe was formed. It is believed to have originated about 14 billion years ago due to the Big Bang. Most astronomers believe the universe began in a Big Bang about 14 billion years ago. At that time, the entire universe was inside a bubble that was thousands of times smaller than a pinhead. It was hotter and denser than anything we can imagine. Then it suddenly exploded. The universe that we know was born. In a fraction of a second, the universe grew from smaller than a single atom to bigger than a galaxy. And it kept on growing at a fantastic rate. It is still expanding. The universe has countless number of galaxies made up with millions of stars in each galaxy. Our sun and the stars that we see in the night sky belong to a galaxy called the Milky Way or Akash Ganga. This galaxy has about 10,000 crore stars. Stars are huge bodies made up of very hot gases. They have their own heat and light, and therefore we see them twinkle at night. They look tiny because they are very far away from us. The stars are formed from the clouds of gas and dust in space. It can be seen if there are stars in or near it. Do you know the sun is also a star? It looks so huge because it is very close to Earth. The nearest star to the Earth apart from the sun is Proxima Centauri, which is more than 4.24 light years away from Earth. So that brings us to the question, what is a light year? It is difficult to derive a unit for measuring the distances between the heavenly bodies in the universe as they are very far from each other. Hence, astronomers do not use ordinary units of measurement such as miles or kilometers. Instead, they use the light year. A light year is the distance travelled by light in 1 year. The speed of the light is 3 lakh km per second. Thus, light travels a distance of about 9,50,000 crore km in 1 year. The family of the Sun is known as the solar system. It consists of the Sun, 8 planets, about 100 known satellites like the Moon, asteroids, meteors and comets. The solar system is part of the Milky Way galaxy. Let's understand the Sun in detail now. Sun is the largest member of the solar system and is located at its center. The diameter of the Sun is about 109 times greater than the diameter of the Earth. The Sun is the main source of heat and light for all the forms of life on Earth. That's the reason why ancient people worshipped the Sun as a god. The Sun is at an average distance of about 15 crore kilometers from the Earth. The light from the Sun takes only about 8 minutes and 20 seconds to reach the surface of the Earth. The temperature at the surface of the Sun is about 6000 degrees Celsius, while at the center of the Sun it is about 1 crore 50 lakh degrees Celsius. What keeps all the members of the solar system together is the gravitational pull of the Sun. Do you see how hot is the Sun? Moving ahead, let's understand the planets. Planets are heavenly bodies that do not have the heat and light of their own. They shine as they reflect the light of the Sun. There are 8 planets in the solar system. In the order of the distance from the Sun, they are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. Mercury, Venus, Earth and Mars are called the inner planets as they are close to the Sun. They are also made up of rocks and hence are also called terrestrial planets, that is, Earth-like planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune are the outer planets and they are called gas giants as they are made up of gases. All the planets are spherical in shape and they revolve around the Sun in elliptical paths called orbits. They move around the Sun from the west to east. While revolving around the Sun, the planets also rotate on their axis. Each planet takes different time to complete one revolution around the Sun and one rotation on its axis. Here we come to our planet Earth. It is the 3rd planet from the Sun and the 5th largest in the solar system. It is the largest among the inner planets and is very unique because it is the only planet that supports various forms of life. It is at an appropriate distance from the Sun, making the heat received from the Sun favorable for living condition. If the heat from the Sun was to increase or decrease by even 10%, a large part of the Earth would become unfit for living organisms. The rotation of the Earth on its axis also keeps the temperature between day and night within tolerable limits. Presence of adequate water on Earth provides ideal conditions for the origin and evolution of life. The presence of an atmosphere also protects the Earth from the harmful ultraviolet radiations coming from the Sun. The oxygen-rich atmosphere is also necessary for the survival of human beings and other forms of life. Earth is also called the watery planet or blue planet because when astronauts first saw Earth from space, it looked blue in color due to the presence of water all over it. In ancient times, people believed that Earth was flat in shape. It was Aristotle and Copernicus who declared that Earth was spherical in shape, but Earth is actually not a perfect sphere. Due to the rotation of the Earth, it is slightly bulging at the equator and flattened at the poles. Hence, the equatorial diameter is about 44 km more than the Earth's polar diameter. Let's now move ahead and understand about satellites. The word satellite means an attendant or a companion. They move around the planets from west to east. They do not have their own light and reflect the light of the Sun until 1610. The Moon was the only known satellite in the solar system. Today, there are more than 100 known satellites. Mercury and Venus are the only two planets that do not have any known satellite. Now let's understand about our moon, which is the satellite of our Earth. It is the heavenly body that is closest to the Earth, and hence it appears larger and brighter than any other celestial body in the night sky. The average distance of moon from the Earth is about 3,84,000 km and its diameter is about 3,480 km. The light reflected from the moon reaches the Earth's surface in about 1.3 seconds. Too quick, huh? The days on the moon are very hot, that is 120 degrees Celsius, and nights are very cold at minimum 120 degrees Celsius. Two American astronauts, Neil Armstrong and Edwin Aldrin, were the first people to have landed on the moon on 21st July 1969. Have you ever looked up at the sky and noticed how the moon changes shape each night? Ever wondered why and how? Well, here's the answer. It doesn't change shape at all. Let's take a look at the phases of the moon. The phases of the moon are the different ways the moon looks from Earth over about a month. As the moon orbits around the Earth, the half of the moon that faces the sun will be lit up. The different shapes of the lit portion of the moon that can be seen from Earth are known as phases of the moon. Each phase repeats itself every 29.5 days. There are 8 phases that the moon goes through. First, a new moon is when the moon cannot be seen because we are looking at the unlit half of the moon. The new moon phase occurs when the moon is directly between the Earth and Sun. A solar eclipse can only happen at new moon, as you can see it in the image. On the left side, there is a new moon that is not at all lit up. Second is a waxing crescent moon. It is when the moon looks like crescent and the crescent increases in size from one day to the next. This phase usually is only seen in the west. Fifth is the full moon. It is when we can see the entire lit portion of the moon. The full moon phase occurs when the moon is on the opposite side of the Earth from the sun, called opposition. A lunar eclipse can only happen at full moon. Sixth is waxing gibbous moon, which occurs when more than half of the lit portion of the moon can be seen and the shape decreases in size from one day to the next. The waxing gibbous phase occurs between the full moon and the third quarter phase. Seventh, the last quarter moon or a half moon. It is when half of the lit portion of the moon is visible after the waxing gibbous phase. Eighth is waxing crescent moon. It is when the moon looks like the crescent and the crescent decreases in size from one day to the next. Now let's understand the other celestial bodies found in our galaxy. First is an asteroid. It is a chunk of rock and metal in outer space that orbits around the sun. They are called planetoids or minor planets. They are of 3 types based on the elements that make up the asteroid. They are carbon, stony, or metallic. The majority of asteroids orbit the sun in a ring called the asteroid belt. The asteroid belt is located between the planets Mars and Jupiter. You might have also seen some bright streaks of light in the night sky. They are called meteors or shooting star. क्या ये कहानी सुनी है कि एक टूटते हुए तारे को देख के जो भी हम इच्छा करें वो पूरी हो जाती है? हाँ, उसी टूटते हुए तारे को हम शूटिंग स्टार बोलते हैं. Meteors are small pieces of rock revolving around the sun. The presence of meteors in the sky is known only when it enters the Earth's atmosphere. Most of them burn up and become gases, but some might be big and hence don't get burnt completely. They hit the Earth's surface, forming meteor craters. Okay, let's know about another celestial body, that is comets. They are huge lump of snow and rocky dust that follows its own orbit around the sun. When they reach near the sun, they start glowing and develop a long tail. You might have heard about Hale's comet that was last seen in 1986. It is estimated that it will appear again after 76 years, that is 2062. We also find constellations in the sky. A constellation is a group of visible stars that form a pattern when viewed from Earth. The pattern they form may take the shape of an animal, a mythological creature, a man, a woman, or an inanimate object, such as a microscope, a compass, or a crown. The most easily recognizable constellation is a Saptarishi, a group of 7 stars, which also help us to locate the pole star, which indicates the north direction. We can go on and on exploring our universe. Through this session, we have just understood a part of our universe. Hey, I have some tasks for you. So there are total 5 tasks, out of which 4 will be done by you at your home and the 5th one will be done once we meet. So the first task is do the flashlight experiment, which I have told initially. Second, look at the night sky and try find the Saptarishi. You may take help of your parents. Once it's found, try to locate the pole star. Third task, today observe the shape of the moon and draw it on a chart. Once it is drawn, write today's date below it and complete the phases of moon with their names. Fourth task, open the newspaper and locate the constellations. You will find it in the part where zodiac signs are given. We can also call it Rashi. You have to paste their photograph and write their names in your practice notebook. It's really nice doing all these tasks. And the 5th task is that we will together understand more about the planets, and until then enjoy exploring the night sky.